So this is the big day. Time to dispatch Moran. We'll deal with the reverse shear before long. And extract her vital organs.
Put it back up to up there on a second loop.
Do you want me to take my boots off, or can I?
You'll just step over.
Yeah.
This is it.
Oh, that's his too.
Let you know, man. Fairly early high tide.
In the middle of a stormy winter's night, Moran was swinging peacefully on her mooring when she was struck a mortal blow with a large vessel riding up over her bow, crushing her pulpit and rupturing her standing rigging. So this is the last time that Moran will see the water. Bits of it will. Her legacy will go on in Sarah Ann. And Moran is on her final journey up the slipway with her throbbing heartbeat transplanted from Moran into Sarah Ann. And that's where she's going to end up, over there to the right of Sophie 2. Moran has completed her life cycle now. She's left the water. And this was all done with considerably more dignity and composure, thanks to the consummate skills of Craig and Robert. It's a sombre day when any boat comes to the end of its useful life. If you've ever built a boat, you'll know the sweat and tears that go into it. And you will know the joy of watching her float on a waterline for the first time. And you'll always remember the special times, times with family and friends, times of unmatched joy.
And in these bones travel bites, the glory of the yellow sky burns bright in me till the day I die. And I will hold you in my heart. I will hold you in my heart. And I will keep you in my thoughts. The land that time forgot.
Chris, you put it on that dolly.
Yeah.
Well, you're in control.
Yeah. I don't like the bouncing ones.
Over here, Chris.
Like a Volvo MD1.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to get out of my. Why don't you put this in?
You went online, the motor's about 60 kilos, did you say?
Yeah.
And I reckon the gearbox doubles it.
Centre there. There we go.
So hopefully, you might want to get some.
Dance we did till the sun went down. And I will hold you in my heart. I will
It's too dramatic to film, but we got it down.
In my thoughts, land around the tide forgot.
Sarah Ann's coming along in preparation for the Australian Wooden Boat Festival, which is about 75 days away, I think. I've pretty much finished all of the deck areas, just got the non-slip deck paint to put in the cockpit area. Everything else is done. I'm just layering up on the varnish on the wooden bits. They come up to about 4 coats there, so I'll probably keep going for a bit until I run out of varnish. And then, but the real saga lies within. So I'm making preparations to swap the engine out of this from the donor boat. Down in there we have the Volvo MD1. Throw another coat of spar varnish on there, and that'll be about anywhere between 4 and 5 coats throughout. I'll probably do another couple. It is layering up nicely, but there's a few places where it's just starting to look pretty good, but there's so much dust in the atmosphere here.
Watching the sunset on Tennessee hills. I wish I could capture it, I never will.
How accurately I was able to cut this.
'Cause I'm not a painter, can't stay in the light. Just sitting here sipping on dandelion wine. It's starting to rain, but I don't feel a thing. Sitting out rocking on that old porch swing. 'Cause I found me something that tastes like springtime. Just sitting here sipping on dandelion wine. Oh,
I'm using Sikaflex.
you can make plans, but they'll change on a dime. So pour me one more glass of dandelion wine.
Better quality, better tape, doesn't it?
Preachers and dreamers, they both believe in the patterns and powers that we can't quite see. Spend your life guessing or look for the signs. Sit back and sip on that dandelion wine. Oh,
It's how to turn a 28 footer into a 25 footer.
one more glass of dandelion wine.
Oh, it's on the right side. Yeah. Bugger. Several cameras up for nothing.
You can make plans, but they'll change on a dime. So pour me one more glass of dandelion wine. Pour me one more glass of dandelion wine.
It's only going to be for show. Team of experts working on it now. Nothing like blowing things up, destroying things that attracts a crowd. And gradually less and less boat. Piece by piece, Moran is diminishing, and I have to say, so are my energy reserves. Unfortunately, much of the plywood in the decks has rotted away, and there's just a skin left on the transom where the plywood's rotted out from within. Before long, she's been stripped down to little more than just her keel, and Robert has been meticulously working away at saving every stainless steel nut, bolt, screw and washer he can possibly salvage.
Master scavenger.
Well, once again, feels good to be back in the workshop. So I've just had a couple of weeks out demolishing a boat up at Devonport for this engine here, which is under the blue tarp down there. And I'm about to take the tarp off, and I'm about to suspend it from the ceiling so I can mount it on the trolley, see if I can get it set up and running and service the engine. Be careful, old people, on top treads of ladders. This is the original engine bed that I pulled out of Moran that the Kubota was mounted on. So the whole story about this new little Kubota, or new to me Kubota, which I'm putting in Sarah Ann, has been nothing but one blessing after another. Yeah, there have been some challenges, but what are the chances that the Polyflex fittings that were on Moran are exactly the same spec as the fittings that are on Sarah Ann? And then the older ones, which are these blue ones, which I've had them apart and they're still in perfect condition. Just a little bit discoloured, that's all. We'll go here. Now I do have quite a few options available here. I'm not sure about these, whether I've got options there or not, but certainly on that bell housing I do. So let's initially just stick with what's known. That was a big ask for the Sawzall. It would have done the job, and it doesn't create as much heat and sparks, but the angle grinder is going to do it more accurately and more efficiently, so we'll swap over to this. So that's a good practical finish for what it is, but at least they'll be nice and clean when they go in there. Not to overdo it, because what I'm preparing for here is to just service and bench test the diesel. Let's have a look at what's in here. That's what 1/4 inch chisels for. Alright, so that's the end of that gasket, eh? Piecing together the jigsaw puzzle begins now. How to make this fit. It's a wonderful thing when a plan comes together, but when it doesn't, ooh. And a couple of problems with the attachment point. That I've got the endless chain on there. Never mind, I'll lower it back down very gingerly and strengthen what's happening up overhead. So I've got a bit of 5/8 shafting stainless through a piece of 1 inch aluminium tube just to stiffen it up a little bit. Look at that, it didn't stiffen it quite enough. Now it's not in any danger of falling, but certainly not what I wanted to achieve. So I got to lower the engine back down into the abyss. Well, that's a case of nearly. So I got the engine up nicely without any drama whatsoever, a bit of creaking and groaning, but then I looked up above and my engineering was not quite up to that load, so I'm going to have to lower it back down and strengthen things up there, lest it all come down in a horrible crash. This is the Mark 1 lifting gear. Not so successful. This is the Mark 2 lifting gear. Very successful. I think I'll stick with wood. Here's the classy Blackwood fit out. Blackwood and Kingbilly pine. So I got a bin there, which is for all of my rags and stuff. And then matched and fiddleback drawers. Means everything can be nicely organised in there now. And then I've got some pigeonholes, which I'm using to store my drills. Cockpit masked up and ready to go. And that's the last of the non-slip areas. A friend commented that it might be looking a little bit too contemporary, even more like a fiberglass boat, but personally I just find that it's practical, and if it behaves like a fiberglass boat, well, that would be purely wonderful. My first port light fully installed and ready to go. You deserve a decent welcome back after flying all those miles from wherever you went last winter. Yeah, I'm pleased to see you. However, I've set up a nice little perch for you over there, and I'd much prefer you did that rather than poop on the deck of my boat. No pooping. At the time of recording this video, the race was well and truly on, and I'd taken on a very big project to try and squeeze in between then and when I ended up at the Wooden Boat Festival. It was questionable at one stage whether I was even going to make it. So at the moment I'm sitting in the office and I've got a little bit of time to do a bit of video editing. I've got miles and miles of footage covering the period from way back in October when I took her out of the water up until now, which is just 10 days before the Wooden Boat Festival in Hobart. The real test is troubleshooting this new motor install and finding out her idiosyncrasies, and that will be a subject of future videos. So for now, You could help by liking and subscribing. Check out my Patreon channel, it's all free content, and on Patreon and Facebook you'll find live real-time updates of how the project's going. See you next time.